I beat all of those guys 99 times out of 100, and I just had bad luck 3 times in a row. But now there's a saying when luck is when opportunity meets preparation, and now I feel like I'm more prepared, so those opportunities will present themselves more, and I'll be more lucky. Juan Adams. I grew up Houston, Texas. Most of my adult life has been spent outside of Texas, but all the formative years were down there. So born and raised there. I've been playing sports competitively since I was 3 years old. It was actually really funny. My first sport ever was soccer. I was 3 years old, and I was playing on a four and under team for the longest, and then like halfway through the season they put me on a six and under team. So that was fun, and because of my size, I was always pushed up age groups, and I made up for that by being really athletic. So growing up, I played just about every sport. I did football. I didn't start playing football till I was 10. Didn't start wrestling until I was 14. But before that, in elementary school, I was on my school's gymnastics team and my school's track team. That's kind of where I get a lot of my balance and agility from. And then I started playing baseball. Eventually the YMCA kind of didn't really let me play anymore because I was just really competitive. So my mom found other leagues for my brother and I to join and play in. I was actually my dad got drafted to play baseball right out of high school, and then he played 3 years. I think he made it to AAA, and then he used his last year of eligibility and accepted a football scholarship to Rice. That's where him and my mom met. So growing up, I always wanted to play football for Rice. Then I got to high school and realized that it just kind of didn't like football all that much. Still had some offers. I broke my hand my senior year, lost all those, and it was gonna be either walk on and play football or walk on and wrestle. And the first D1 school that guaranteed me a spot on the wrestling team, I took it. Wrestled out that year, was put on scholarship the next year, and the rest is kind of history. But yeah, I've always loved wrestling a little bit more than football. After college, things didn't really go the way I planned with wrestling. I stayed an extra year just to wrestle, and I kind of bombed out at conference. I was the number one seed, and I ended up taking fourth. So I didn't go to nationals, never qualified for nationals. And after that, I talked to a couple of the Olympic coaches and, the Army team's coach and the Marine team's wrestling coach. And there was interest there, but it just, didn't really feel right anymore. Then I had an NFL tryout. The Colts called me right before I graduated and said, they'd be interested in having me try out for them. And I went down to Houston and I started training at a facility. And through them, I had a couple of other NFL teams come down and evaluate me. And they all kind of said the same thing, give it another year. At that point, I was 24. I didn't really want to give it another year. That was December of 2015. So January of 2016, I decided to switch over, start really going for this MMA thing. I had already kind of been coaching MMA fighters with their wrestling throughout my college years. I would help them fine tune the techniques of their takedowns and top control and escapes. Those were kind of my specialties, ground stuff, and then in neutral it was all about position and getting low energy, high efficiency takedowns. So that's what we always worked on. And I'd gone to a couple sparring classes, a couple like cardio kickboxing things just to kind of not get fat over the summers. But I figured I'd give it a shot, and before I knew it, nobody wanted to fight me as an amateur anymore, so I went pro. And then my fourth pro fight, it was for a UFC contract, and that's where things went. And obviously, things didn't go right. Well, didn't go my way the first go round with the UFC, but signed with a new promotion now. I'm really excited for it. It's a multi-fight deal, making really good money, and if I do go back to the UFC, it's more so to even that record out, really, because that's the only thing I've ever done where I didn't have above a 500 record. So I definitely want to, even that out at the very least. Strictly for my own ego. That's all that's for. But I do still love fighting, and it's with COVID and everything, it's been almost a year since my last fight, and by the time I actually do fight again, it will be 1 week from being a year exactly since my last fight. So that time away has kind of rekindled that passion and made me really fall in love with the sport and fall in love with the process all over again. And being at Jackson Wink, it's really cool because if all the coaches are gone to coach, or they all have to go to Abu Dhabi for Fight Island, it's gives me an opportunity to actually coach and like look at it from a different perspective, and that plays a huge role as well. And keeping the perspective fresh and keeping that passion alive, being able to impart your knowledge to other people, and seeing these other guys that are starting at a similar spot that you started at, and you get to see the difference between your level and their level, it really opens your eyes a lot. And for me, that's a really big part of enjoying everything again, being able to give back and help somebody else reach the levels that you've already reached. Leaving Houston, I closed a big chapter for me. It was, and it's the start of something new. So I got rid of a lot of the baggage. I moved from a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in River Oaks area in Houston to a studio apartment upstairs in a gym in Albuquerque. So nobody can really question my commitment to this. And I'm out here. I'm out here for the long haul. I was in a relationship when I first moved out here. I'm no longer in one. All I do is train. I have a full-time job outside of training. So after each workout, I go to my job. I work from 4:30 to 11:30 each night. Go back to the gym, sleep, work out again, and then on Saturdays I do a half shift to make my 40 hours, and then I'm good for the week. But that's all I'm doing, training, working, and paying bills.